In spite of skyrocketing inflation, one New Jersey city wants to lower the amount that landlords can raise the rent under the city's rent control policy. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's coming out of Hoboken, New Jersey. Now, Hoboken is one of those places on the East Coast that has a rent control policy in place for all of the properties in the city. So they can dictate how much a landlord can increase their rents. But in spite of all of the inflation for the past year or two, right, in spite of the price of everything increasing, they've decided that no, landlords, it's not fair that they're able to increase the rents the amount that they were already doing it under the city's law. They think they need to cut that amount to even lower. So they think, I guess, that landlords somehow have magical ability to completely avoid the increase in cost of everything else, just as long as they help these tenants out, right? Wrong, okay? Landlords face the same effects of inflation that the tenants face. In fact, it's even worse in some cases, because when it comes down to like property taxes and insurance, some of those things have increased at rates higher than the rate of inflation overall, okay? So a lot of landlords are facing increased expenses. They have to pay their payroll, they have to pay their mortgages. Some of them were forced to refinance because maybe they had a balloon loan and they were forced to refinance, and now they're facing higher interest rates even. So it's a bad deal overall when they say, hey, landlords can't raise the rent even as much as they had originally said it was okay for landlords to do it. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button, maybe leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. What do you think of these cities that are, suddenly changing the rules in the middle of the game, saying, hey, we allowed X percent of rent increase, but now, it's too much for the tenants. It's too much. So we're going to take that back and we're going to make it so you can only increase to this much lower percentage. Well, you know what they're going to do? They're going to destroy those landlords' businesses, okay? They got those loans. They set up their whole financial plan based on, hey, this percentage is how much we can increase the rent for in this city. And guess what? They changed the rules in the middle of the game. So now their business plan doesn't work. Now, rent control doesn't work regardless, right? It already makes it extremely difficult to make a profit. But those landlords who operate within the city of Hoboken, they already knew about the rent control policy probably when they bought their properties, and they knew how to deal with it. What they don't know how to deal with is suddenly saying, hey, those rent increases that we were going to allow you to do, well, you're not going to be allowed to do them anymore. Okay? And that's wrong, okay? So my personal opinion is, hey, let's just completely get rid of rent control altogether. But if rent control is going to be in place in a place like Hoboken, they shouldn't screw the landlords over by changing the rules in the middle of the game. So let's get into this article. And it's coming from NJ.com, and it says, Hoboken looks to reform rent control laws to lower the maximum annual rent increases. All right, and let's see what this article says about it. Hoboken, during a period of the highest inflation in 4 decades, tenants in rent-controlled units may soon see reforms that could help contain their monthly payments. An ordinance on the City Council agenda for first reading Wednesday would lower the maximum annual rent increase in rent-controlled units from 7.5% to 4%. Wow. That's a huge difference. That's a 3.5% difference. And, I completely understand why they would think, oh, you know what, we're okay, we're fine, we can still increase our rents by 7.5%. Maybe we can make our numbers work on our properties with that level of rent increase. And from what I've heard in the past, Hoboken is pretty popular because it's just right across from Manhattan. And so a lot of people who work in Manhattan, they live in Hoboken because it's still less expensive than Manhattan is. But, when they put these rent control policies in place all over this area, and the people who are running these businesses, they know the rules. They know what they have to do, and they change the rules. Now they're making it darn near impossible for these landlords to operate.